When does it make sense to file a contempt? Hi, I'm Bill Farias, founder of Farias Family Law, and we got a question about a contempt about a week ago. We have a situation where one parent is not following the parenting plan, and the person asking the question is afraid that this is going to set a precedent and that the other party is going to continue to disregard the court order. And so this video is about when it makes sense to proceed with a contempt filing. And that's essentially enforcing a court order. So if it's in the order and it's clear and unequivocal, in other words, there's no doubt that the other person is violating the court order and is doing willfully on purpose, then that's a contempt issue. So the next question is, when do you file? Because it doesn't always make sense to file when the other party is disregarding a court order. The first thing that I would suggest you consider is whether it's an isolated incident. So sometimes things happen and a person doesn't abide by the court order, but judging by all the circumstances, you can feel pretty confident that it's not going to repeat and or have a significant impact going forward. So in that case, it doesn't make sense to file, right? It's a lot of time and aggravation. You got to file the paperwork, you have a hearing. Sometimes you're waiting around for a while. If you hire an attorney, you're incurring legal fees. So you have to judge whether it's an isolated incident. You can't always jump to file a contempt every time somebody is not in complete compliance with the court order. The other consideration here is, I would suggest to you before filing that whenever possible, you have a discussion with the other party about the issue. And I know that this is not always possible. I know that some of you are dealing with people on the other side, exes, opposing parties, who are just impossible to deal with, and nothing you say or write to them will turn them rational. And so if the person is in that category, then you may have to just skip this. But whenever possible, you want to reach out to the other party and just say, hey, look, this happened, here's the court order, I'm hoping we can work together, and hopefully that resolves the issue. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen, right? There are plenty of circumstances where you're going to get repeat violations and or violations that are significant, which is the next consideration, is how important and impactful is this, right? Is it something that is not a big deal in the grand scheme, right? And you have to step back and think about, am I wanting to file a contempt just out of principle, just to prove a point? Because if that's the case, you have to seriously consider whether it's worth it, right? Because if you're going to take up court time, then you want to make sure it's for a good issue and something that is worth something of value. Judges do not like when people clog up the docket on nonsense claims and contempt. So you really want to consider that, especially if you have children and there is a possibility that you're going to end up in front of the judge again. You don't want to go in front of the judge on something that is insignificant because you're taking a credibility hit. So what is and isn't significant just really depends on the circumstances. So I highly recommend, before you file a contempt, to meet with an attorney and talk about the issue so that you can have an objective person weighing in on it and giving you some perspective on whether or not it's worth filing. So did you talk to the person? Can you talk to the person about the issue? Is it an isolated incident, or is it something that is likely to recur? And then how significant is the issue, right? How significant is it likely to be long term? How likely is it to impact you either financially or in terms of your parenting time and the well-being of the children? So those are all considerations. Don't rush into court and file contempts. talk to an attorney first. You don't want to waste bullets on an issue that's not going to move your circumstances forward. If you have any other question about contempt, you can call us 508-675-0464. You can email us at info@farriousfamilylaw.com. If you found this helpful, you can subscribe to our channel, share it with anyone you think might benefit from it, and you can find us on social media at Farias Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.